The group chat notification came on a Tuesday night while I was halfway through reheating leftover pasta. Family Christmas plans, Christmas tree. That was the name of the thread. It had been silent for weeks, ever since my mother announced she would be hosting properly this year. I smiled at first. Christmas had always been her domain, color-coded gift tags, handmade centerpieces, cinnamon simmering on the stove. Then I opened the message. Since you don't have kids yet and you're the most flexible, we'll need you to handle the little ones during Christmas week. 5 in total. They adore you. 5 in total. My fork hovered in midair. The little ones were my sister Amanda's 3 boys, ages 8, 6, and 4, and my brother Caleb's twin girls, both 5 and feral in a way that made you question the laws of physics. They didn't walk, they ricocheted. I scrolled. Amanda had already replied. Perfect, that gives me and Josh time to relax for once. Caleb, thanks sis, you're a lifesaver. There was a heart reaction from my mother. No one had asked me. I set my fork down. Flexible. That was the word they always used. It sounded complimentary, but it really meant disposable, movable, bendable, convenient. I was 32, single, working remotely as a graphic designer. I had my own apartment, my own routines, my own life, but in my family's eyes, I was the one with no real responsibilities. Which apparently translated to free Christmas childcare. I typed, deleted, typed again. When exactly would this babysitting start? Mom responded almost immediately. Christmas Eve morning through the 27th. Just during the day, of course, we'll all be around. That was a lie and we all knew it. Around meant sipping wine in the kitchen while I chased sugar-high children through the living room. Around meant disappearing upstairs for naps. Around meant not noticing when one of the twins colored on the dog. I stared at the blinking cursor. And something inside me, something small and tired and long ignored, said no. The last time I'd been voluntold into holiday duty was Thanksgiving. I'd spent 6 hours wrangling kids while my siblings watched football. When I tried to sit down, Amanda had handed me a juice box and said, "You're just better with them." Better meant patient. Patient meant quiet. Quiet meant compliant. I'd driven home that night with mashed potatoes on my sweater and an ache in my chest I couldn't quite name. This time felt different. This time I was exhausted before it even began. I didn't respond to the group chat. Instead, I opened a new tab on my laptop. Flight. I didn't know where I was going yet. I just knew I needed to go somewhere. Somewhere that didn't see me as a built-in nanny. Somewhere that didn't reduce my worth to my availability. I scrolled through destinations the way other people scroll through dating apps. Snowy mountains, sunny beaches, European cities dressed in lights. Then I saw it. A direct flight to Lisbon, affordable, leaving the morning of December 23rd. Portugal had always been on my someday list. Cobblestone streets, ocean air, pastel buildings stacked like painted blocks. My heart started to race. I checked the return date, December 30th. 7 days. 7 quiet, mine-only days. I hesitated. Was this petty, dramatic, immature? Or was it self-preservation? I imagined Christmas morning at my mother's house. The chaos, the shrieking, Amanda sighing dramatically when one of her boys knocked over the tree, my mother looking at me with that expectant expression. I imagined myself smiling tightly and saying yes. Again, I clicked book. The confirmation email arrived seconds later. And just like that, I had an escape plan. I waited 3 days before telling them. The group chat was now filled with discussions about matching pajamas and cookie decorating stations. No one had asked me a single follow-up question about the childcare arrangement. It had simply been assumed. On Friday evening, I typed, "Quick update, I won't be home for Christmas this year. I'll be traveling." The typing bubbles appeared instantly. Mom, traveling, where? Amanda, wait, what? Caleb, you're joking, right? I took a breath. I booked a trip abroad. I leave on the 23rd. There was a long pause. Then Mom called. I let it ring twice before answering. Sweetheart, she began, voice already strained. What do you mean you won't be here? I mean I won't be here. But we already planned. You planned, I corrected gently. Silence. You didn't say no, she said finally. You didn't ask. Another silence, heavier this time. Family helps family, she said. I agree, I replied, but family also respects boundaries. She exhaled sharply. This is very last minute. I booked the flight 3 days ago. Why would you do that without discussing it with us? I almost laughed, because no one discussed Christmas childcare with me. Her voice softened, pivoting to guilt. The children look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing them too, I said, as their aunt, not their full-time holiday babysitter. There it was, the truth. We stayed on the phone another 10 minutes, going in circles. She accused me of being selfish. I accused no one but held my ground. By the end, her tone was cold. Well, she said, I hope this trip is worth it. So do I answered. And I meant it. The weeks leading up to Christmas were tense. Amanda sent me a private message. This really puts us in a tough spot. I replied, I understand. I hope you find a solution. She didn't respond. Caleb reacted to one of my Instagram stories with a thumbs down emoji. Mom stopped sending me recipe ideas. For a moment, doubt crept in. Was I ruining Christmas? But then I remembered, Christmas had been assigned to me like a shift at a retail job. That wasn't tradition. That was convenience. And I refused to feel guilty for stepping out of a role I never agreed to. The morning of December 23rd, I dragged my suitcase through the airport with a mix of exhilaration and nerves. I'd never spent a holiday away from home before. The terminal buzzed with families in festive sweaters and harried parents carrying overstuffed bags. I watched them with detached curiosity. For once, I wasn't responsible for anyone but myself. On the plane, as we lifted into the grey winter sky, I felt something loosen inside my chest. Freedom. It wasn't loud or dramatic, it was quiet, steady. I closed my eyes and let it settle. Lisbon greeted me with mild air and golden light. The city felt like a painting, terracotta rooftops, tiled facades, narrow streets that wound like ribbons. I checked into a small boutique hotel overlooking the river and stood on the balcony for a long time, just breathing. No one needed a snack. No one was tugging my sleeve. No one expected anything from me. On Christmas Eve, I wandered through a market strung with twinkling lights. Musicians played carols in Portuguese. Couples sipped mulled wine. Children laughed, not my responsibility, just background music to my own unfolding story. I bought myself a small ceramic ornament shaped like a sardine. A reminder. That night I ate dinner alone at a cozy restaurant tucked into an alley. Grilled fish, warm bread, a glass of vinho verde. I texted a photo to the family group chat. Feliz Natal from Lisbon. Mom responded with a simple, Merry Christmas. Amanda sent nothing. Caleb left it on read. It strung, but not enough to outweigh the peace. Christmas morning, I woke to sunlight pouring through sheer curtains. Back home, the house would be in chaos by now. Wrapping paper flying, kids shouting, someone crying over a toy dispute. Instead, I made coffee slowly, sat by the window, called a friend who was spending the holiday with her partner's family and whispered, I did it. She laughed, you escaped. Yes, I said softly, I did. Later that afternoon, my phone rang. It was Amanda. I hesitated before answering. She sounded tired. Hey. Long pause. I didn't realize how much you did, she said finally. My eyebrows lifted. What do you mean? Mom assumed I'd managed the kids since you weren't here. Caleb and Josh helped a bit, but she trailed off. It was a lot. I didn't say, I know. She continued, quieter now. I guess I just got used to you handling it. There it was again, used to. I love the kids, I said, but loving them doesn't mean sacrificing myself every holiday. She was silent for a moment, Yeah, she admitted, that's fair. The call ended lighter than it began. Not resolved, but shifting. When I returned home on December 30th, my mother asked me over for dinner. I went. The house still smelled faintly of pine and sugar cookies. The tree leaned slightly to one side. She poured tea, sat across from me at the kitchen table. You look happy, she observed. I am. She studied me for a long moment. I didn't mean to make you feel taken for granted, she said eventually. I know, I replied, but I was. She nodded slowly. I suppose I always saw you as the reliable one. I am reliable, I said, when I choose to be. A small smile tugged at her mouth. That's new. It is. We talked for an hour, not perfectly, not magically, but honestly. When I left, she hugged me tighter than usual. In January, Amanda asked if I'd be willing to watch the kids for one evening, while she and Josh attended a wedding. She asked. I checked my calendar. I said yes, and it felt entirely different. Because it was my choice. Looking back, the flight to Lisbon wasn't just a vacation. It was a boundary with wings. It was proof to them and to myself that my time mattered. That my life wasn't a placeholder until motherhood. That being child-free didn't mean being obligation-free. Christmas still came the next year, and the year after that. But something had shifted permanently. They no longer assumed. They asked, and sometimes I said yes. And sometimes I said no. And either way, the world didn't end. The tree still lit up. The kids still laughed. And I still belonged. Just not as the unpaid holiday babysitter. As me.